A man now faces charges for a deadly assault at a Rockport bar.
It's awful sweet of her to do this.
A positive development for a local veteran we told you about earlier this week. And your high school football highlights are coming up in the Friday Night Fever.
This is Chris 6 News at 10.
Tonight was debate night as the two candidates in the runoff election for Corpus Christi mayor laid out their visions for the city. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Seth Kovar. Katya moderated that meeting of the minds tonight, a debate that came at a crucial time. We'll hear from her shortly, but I said a crucial time. That's because early voting begins tomorrow for the city's runoff elections. The early voting period runs through December 11th, and runoff election day is Tuesday, December 15th. With little time to sway voters, the candidates dove into some serious topics tonight. Incumbent Mayor Joe McComb and challenger City Councilwoman Paulette GUAJARDO talked about everything from desalination plants to COVID-19 protocols to crime in our city. They both tried to make their best cases to voters.
My service through the City Council, through the Commissioners Court and civic organizations and others is based on my commitment to making the city a better place to live and leaving it better for my children and my grandchildren.
It is time that Corpus Christi has a mayor who works full-time to provide the oversight, the vision, and the leadership our city deserves.
And you'll get to hear a lot more from both candidates during our Chris 6 News Decision 2020 debate. That hour-long event airs Monday night at 6 right here on Chris 6. Now, we had the opportunity to sit down and talk to both mayoral candidates a few weeks ago to give you better insight into who's asking for your vote. We're going to start tonight with Mayor Joe McComb's profile, and here, as promised, is our Katya Uriarte.
Joe McComb became mayor in May of 2017, and the challenges came quickly. Hurricane Harvey hit less than 3 months after he took office.
The deliberations of do we evacuate or do we not evacuate? And we made the decision not to evacuate based on the information we had. We caught some criticism from that, but it was a right decision.
Hurricane Hannah hit us this year, but the biggest challenge has been an unseen enemy.
COVID has been the toughest challenge because a hurricane, you know it's coming. We've been through them before. You don't know whether you got 24 hours or 72 hours, but you can see it out there moving around. You can kind of do your anticipation. I mean, you're fighting an invisible battle with COVID.
The mayor, a man who knows a thing or two about handling personal tragedy.
I guess coming off of my personal experience in 2015, I don't know if there'd be a crisis any bigger than the 2015 Wimberley flood experience that we went through.
His son, daughter-in-law, and grandchildren and personal close friends swept away in that terrible flood. The only survivor, his son. And when he talks about the city, he talks about working together as a team.
During this whole pandemic, even up through today, we've not laid any employees off from the city as a result of the pandemic, which is very fortunate because they have bills to pay, they've got families to feed, and they had to be, people expected the city to continue to provide services, and we have been.
That was Katya Uriarte reporting. And now we want to introduce you to challenger Paulette GUAJARDO. How would she transition from the city council to the role of mayor if elected? Our Paul Mueller recently has her profile.
We have to know the cost.
After serving 2 terms on the city council, Paulette GUAJARDO says she's more than ready to take the city's top job.
But do you really think 4 years is enough?
The people came to me and said, it's time, you have to run. It was an expectation.
That expectation, she says, led her to officially announce her candidacy back in August.
And I think it's time that we strengthen leadership, that we take our city to the next level.
GUAJARDO found herself in a crowded field of mayoral candidates. On election night, she came in second to Joe McComb by less than 1,000 votes.
We're going to go into a runoff. We're going to work hard.
That left her with 45 days to convince constituents Corpus Christi needs new blood.
I am not a career politician, nor will I ever be. We have to have ethical leadership. We have to have a higher standard for the leaders who are elected by the people.
When you talk with your constituents, the 3 most important things to them typically are what?
fixing our streets, securing an uninterruptible source of water, and the third one would be public safety.
And the list goes on, and Guajardo says the city needs a full-time mayor for major changes to happen. That full-time status is a must, she says, for Corpus Christi to grow. Yet at the same time, some wonder if that presents a problem.
So how can a full-time mayor work effectively with a strong city manager form of government?
I can't wait to find out.
You don't think you'll bump heads?
No, absolutely not. I think that if I was mayor and I was working full-time, Peter is going to be able to move even faster than he is now.
But for now, it's a sprint to the finish, and Guajardo says she's more than ready. In Corpus Christi, I'm Paul Mueller, Chris 6 News.
And there are a couple of other races in the runoff ranks that we're keeping a close eye on. The District 1 City Council seat is also on the ballots. Local business owner Rachel Caballero and retired Marine and Postal employee Billy Lerma are in that race. Current District 1 Councilman Everett Roy chose not to run for re-election. And the District 4 seat is also headed for a runoff. It pits incumbent Greg Smith against challenger Kaylin Paxson. For all your election coverage, you can head over to our website. That's christv.com. You can even find longer profile pieces on the two mayoral candidates. Well, it's time now to get our first look at our forecast. Chief Meteorologist Dale Nelson in tonight. Getting kind of chilly out there, Dale.
It is. We had a lot of cloud cover this morning, coverage there as you can see, but it cleared out this afternoon beautifully. And temperatures were up near 60 degrees, and it was lovely with the light winds that are right now 5 miles an hour. And it is chilly, as you mentioned, at 47 there, Seth. And as you can see on the satellite and radar, we've got a few clouds starting to inch up from the south because of this upper level low. There they are. That's going to lead to a little bit of rain here tomorrow. Nothing like what we saw last Saturday, but certainly coming. Temperatures mainly in the 40s right now, including 41 in Alice and 42 in Falfurrias. Temperatures will drop tonight until the clouds arrive, and we'll be back up to 46 at 7 in the morning, but only in the 50s tomorrow with some light rain through the afternoon and evening. The high tomorrow just 56 degrees. Better or worse on Sunday. In a few minutes, I'll be back to tell you all about it.
Developments tonight in a deadly assault at a Rockport bar. Police there announced earlier tonight that they've made an arrest in that case. 29-year-old Scott Audibert died at a Corpus Christi hospital yesterday. He was rushed there from the Rack Pub and Eatery in Rockport the day before Thanksgiving after another man punched him. Police say that man is 42-year-old Jerry Fain, who they arrested today and charged with manslaughter. Nueces County passed the 25,000 mark today when it comes to COVID-19 cases. Health leaders reported 158 new cases today. But here's some good news. So far, more than 22,000 people have recovered from the virus. But the county also announced 2 new COVID-19 related deaths today. The victims were both men, one in his 50s and the other in his 60s. That brings the death toll to 498. And here's a look at the latest coronavirus cases throughout the coastal bend. Kind of difficult to see. Don't squint. We have a detailed look at those numbers county by county on our website. That once again, christv.com. Some great news for a local veteran just in time for the holidays. Coming up, how the community helped him get moving again. And a little later, all your high school football highlights in the Friday Night Fever. Tonight we have a follow-up to a Veterans in Focus story that we brought to you earlier this week. Robert Ainsworth, a Vietnam vet who is in need of some wheelchair parts, doesn't have to wait for those parts anymore. Chris 6 News reporter Greg Chandler has our update.
Response to our story Wednesday was absolutely incredible. We started receiving calls and emails within minutes of it airing, all offering to help Ainsworth, including more than one offer of a replacement wheelchair. One of those calls came from Carol Mock of Portland. Her 96-year-old father passed away in May, 2 months after he got a brand new motorized wheelchair. Well, Friday morning, we picked up the chair from the Portland facility Mock's father lived at and took it to Annaville, where a grateful Ainsworth was waiting. Mock's father was a World War II veteran And she says that when she heard Ainsworth's story, she knew what had to be done.
My husband and I just both looked at each other, and I looked at you. You reminded me of my dad. And it was very easy to do. I think I'm going to get more out of it just because I know that it's gone to a good place where it needs to be. And Daddy would be so proud.
Well, it's awful sweet of her to do this. I can travel now, back and forth on this pavement.
Now, we also have an update on the parts Ainsworth was waiting for. He's been told by the repair company that those parts are sitting on a dock in China and that the dock workers are on strike. Now, when those parts are arrived and his old chair is fixed, Ainsworth hopes to pay Mox Jestward forward. For Veterans in Focus, Greg Chandler, Chris 6 News.
Gotta love a story that ends like that. Thanks, Greg. Well, if you're a veteran, we invite you to check out the information page we created just for you. You'll find that at christv.com/veteransinfocus. And if you're a veteran in need of any kind of help, or if you know a veteran who deserves some recognition for what they do for their community, we've set up a hotline to call. That number is on your screen, 361-654-1620. Clapping along with the music. It was quite the scene tonight, all for that lady right there, Miss Solis. She celebrated her 100th birthday today. Her family held a drive-through parade for her, and as you can hear and have heard, there was even a mariachi band. A lot of fun to be had there. And also here, new at 10, a local teacher making sure that the COVID-19 pandemic does not interfere with a yearly tradition. Zavala Elementary's Priscilla Herrera went to great lengths to make it happen for the 7th straight year.
Next I got on my list is Miss Sosa.
Screams, we all scream for Santa. Santa visited her class today from the North Pole via Zoom. Normally he visits in person to drop off his Santa cam and an elf on the shelf to teach each class to promote good behavior, also important during the holidays especially. This year, of course, he had to do it virtually because of the pandemic, but it doesn't look like the kids minded at all. And look at there, our Katia Uriarte also took part in that fun event. Well, coming up in just a bit, the Friday Night Fever. But first, right after the break, Chief Meteorologist Dale Nelson will have a complete check of your weekend forecast. And as we go to break, a look at a seasonal favorite here in Corpus Christi, the live nativity display at the First Baptist Church on Ocean Drive. Now, if you missed tonight's drive-through events, it's happening again from 6 until 8 tomorrow night. We'll be right back.